Tonight on Rescue 911, these true stories of high risk and immediate danger.
There was fire on the right and left side, and the flames increased to about 10 feet high. It got to the point where I thought it was dangerous to go any further.
Police, fire, and ambulance.
This is a very bizarre call. I wondered how she got the phone when she told me she was calling me from her tree.
You are stuck in a pine tree. That's right.
Swimming in deep water in the Zambezi is absolutely crazy. It's the same as swimming in shark-infested water.
Just really mercy service.
Rescue workers spend long hours training to ensure that in a real emergency, everything goes smoothly. But when firefighters respond to the scene of a blaze, flames are not always the only threat they face. We begin in the small town of Blue Mound, Texas. Dispatcher Kathy Enriquez's whole family works for the local fire department there, so whenever she takes a call like the one she got on the morning of March 14th, 1994, she has reason to be concerned.
Blue Mound 911, what is your emergency? Someone called to say there was a grass fire north of our city. My job is to answer every phone call that comes in. I'm the 911 operator, dispatcher, and court clerk. I dispatched the Blue Mound brush truck to the scene.
Lieutenant Mike Briggles had been a member of the force for 4 years.
The terrain that day was extremely muddy, and my truck was the only truck around that had four-wheel drive capability. Our fire department is strictly volunteer. It's our protocol to wait until another firefighter responds to the station before we can leave. And the first person to arrive that day was Matt Enriquez. Matt's a real nice guy, and he's a real good friend of mine.
Look too big, we can tap this one out pretty quick.
Normal precautions on a brush truck consist of a tethering device, also reverse lights coupled with a reverse beeper, which we hadn't installed yet. At the time we got there, the fire wasn't that big. Me and Matt assumed that it would be an easy one to tap out. There was fire on the right and left side, and the flames increased to about 10 feet high. It was soggy, and there was extremely good chance of getting caught in the mud. And it got to the point where I thought it was dangerous to go any further. I did not want to get my truck stuck when I was so close to the head of the fire. The way the truck is situated, I cannot see directly behind the truck. So I did not know where Matt was standing. Reverse, I felt the right rear of the truck bounce up. When I exited the truck, I turned around and I did not see Matt on the tailboard, and I instantly knew what had happened.
I need paramedic.
The next thing I heard was Mike screaming, "Medic, medic, I need a medic, and I need a medic now." Copy, care flight. I knew who was dispatching. It was his mother. I did not tell dispatch that it was Matt. I just told that we had a firefighter down.
I know it's Matt.
I just know that's what's going on. I got to call Kara White. Matt was supposed to be at work. I had no idea he was on the scene, but I knew it was Matt immediately. I knew it was my son. It was just instinct.
You hear me?
When we continue,
He was unconscious. His helmet was cracked and broken, and the first thing that went through my mind was I'd killed one of my friends, one of my firefighters.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran tastes so good, people forget it's nutritious. Why do you eat it?
Nutrition.
Good.
I'm a health nut.
Wheat bran. I love it.
Wait a minute, is this true? 10% more raisins free?
Wow, more raisins.
We're talking about nutrition.
Free raisins? Ooh la la.
That's not important. It's
Yes, it is. Now Kellogg's Raisin Bran has 10% more raisins, absolutely free.
forget what it says behind my hand.
10% more raisins.
Free!
What is it your mother always said? Wear clean underwear in case you're in an accident. As if a doctor would ever notice your underwear. Don't risk it, whisk it. Because you know whisk gets out the toughest stains like this. Don't risk it, whisk it.
New Secret's 4-hour cough drops help stop coughs far longer than menthol drops for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, up to 4 hours. New Secret's 4-hour cough suppressant.
I recently joined AT&T for their basic service. Then I decided to analyze what I was paying for long distance. So I lay down there and I said to myself, Joyce,
Yes?
why are you paying America's highest rate to AT&T?
When you could save 25% on every call by joining MCI's new friends and family.
So I took my advice and joined.
Then I said, thanks, Joyce.
And you're welcome. But call me Dr. Brothers.
New friends and family. When you spend just $10 a month, you save 25% on every call.
It's here. It's invading your living room. The RCA Home Theater. Big, bright, with powerful sound. For an experience so extraordinary, you won't believe your senses. It's where the future of television is taking you.
In a powerful testament to the courage and will of pioneer women.
I'm going to climb Pike's Peak. I have to go with her.
A deadly challenge for Dr. Quinn, Saturday. Hallmark Hall of Fame presents the story of a brother and sister whose ancestors were sold for a piano.
I need this piano to get me some money.
You ain't taking that piano out of my house. Mama Olga polished this piano with her tears.
A family's legacy becomes their remarkable future. The Piano Lesson, February 5th. A Walton Wedding, Sunday, February 12th on CBS.
When a brush fire broke out in an open field near Blue Mound, Texas, Kathy Enriquez was the only dispatcher on duty. She had immediately called out the local volunteer fire department. When one of them was injured at the scene, Lieutenant Mike Briggles did not report who it was over the radio, but Kathy suspected it was her 20-year-old son, Matt.
He was unconscious. He was bleeding from the nose and the mouth. His helmet was cracked and broken, and the first thing that went through my mind was I'd killed Matthew Enriquez, one of my friends, one of my firefighters.
Blue Mountain Fire Department responding. Medical emergency. Pat couldn't relieve me. She's not trained to dispatch. I felt absolutely helpless. I wanted to run and scream. I wanted to get out of there and get to him. It's my child. But I couldn't. I couldn't leave.
You all right? I was amazed that he actually looked at me and said, I need to get out of here. I was very glad that he was at least alive. There was a lot of fire around us, and it's moving a couple miles an hour. I needed to get him some medical attention real quick, but nobody could get to us.
Okay. All right.
He stood up by himself and got in the truck, and that was good enough for me. I was going to get him out of there and get him across to the command center.
All right, you in? Yeah. Okay, we're going to get you out of here. Hurry. Okay, here we go. All right. Good.
He was in pretty bad shape, and I knew I'd done it.
happened, Mike? Oh, I ran him over in the fire truck. I think he fell out. Matt, you hear me?
It was very evident that I ran over his head. It was very evident that I backed over his midsection with the tire.
I know it's going to hurt.
It's a feeling I'll never forget.
Okay.
He was one of my firefighters that was under my command.
I know it's going to hurt.
And I'd felt that I'd hurt him real bad, if not killed him.
C1, any change in status on the firefighter?
10-9. 10-9 for that.
10-9 means I can't understand you. You're going to have to repeat. I ask again.
Down to C1, firefighter status. 10-9.
They kept saying 10-9 because they knew I was dispatching.
City Secretary Pat Stokes was a friend of Kathy's.
It was horrible to have to watch the pain she was going through, knowing this was her child. I was so impressed at her professionalism. She stayed right on her job. She did right what she was supposed to do. And there were tears. And there was fear. It was just like you could cut it with a knife. But she was there.
Matt's friend, regional ambulance paramedic Jim Davis, arrived within 10 minutes.
I kneeled down next to him and I asked him who he was because I couldn't recognize him.
He ran over. What do you got? Anything ran over?
He had blood coming from his ears and from his nose.
Yeah. I need your
He had a large abrasion across the lower part of his rib cage, and he was bleeding internally. And that's not so we can stop in the field. We can only slow it down.
No, we'll take care of it. I can let you die.
I was concerned he might not make it.
While Mike returned to fight the fire, 20-year-old Matt Enriquez was taken by Care Flight helicopter to a nearby hospital. Kathy joined her husband Manuel at the hospital as soon as she was relieved from duty.
When you're told that your son been run over, you feel like you lost your heart.
No, not yet.
Because when you love someone, you don't want to see them hurt.
As soon as I walked to the door, he said, Mama, sorry. And he said, I kept thinking, God, please don't let me die. I want to go home. I kissed him, and I cried, and I rubbed his head and talked to him. He's going to be all right, Matt. But I was totally relieved, because when he said, Mama, I knew he was all right.
Although their son suffered back and neck injuries in the accident, amazingly, Matt's only broken bones were in his jaw and ankle.
Good to fish?
It probably comes from that lake up there.
In the months that have passed, Matt has been slowly recovering from his injuries.
I still have a lot of neck pain and back pain, and my shoulder still hurts a lot. But other than that, I'm doing a lot better.
No matter what.
My family gave me a lot of support. My fiance helped me recover a lot. I've seen how much she really cared for me, and that if I was hurt or healthy or what, she'd always be by my side.
5 months after the accident, Matt and his girlfriend, Tabitha Jackson, were married.
If you go through traumas like this, it makes your relationship stronger. You're more aware of how special it is and how precious it is and how fragile it is. We have to take each day like it's our last, because I could lose him at any time.
The reason the accident happened is because there was a lack of communication on the fire scene. I should have told Mike that I was getting off and where I was going to be. But when we were in the helmet and the truck backed up over my head, it probably crushed my skull because it cracked the helmet.
Just a shield.
The mud helped out a lot also because if there was an extra cushion.
That's about all that's in my head. Without this, if I wouldn't have been wearing the helmet, it'd have killed me.
Safety's first.
Saved my life.
Because if you get hurt, there's no way you can help anyone else out.
It's your last time, ain't it? Yeah. Better be.
Firefighting is dangerous. Accidents happen. Some are freak accidents. Some are misjudgment. And some are just flat mistakes.
Won't be the first time you got wet washing a truck, right?
I'm still amazed that Matt is alive. Anybody that's run over by a fire truck just shouldn't come out like he did.
So you going to fireman school?
So I'm very happy that he made it through that day.
He has a whole lot to live for. He knows that his family will stand beside him. It doesn't matter what he goes through.
Stop it.
There's a lot of good people watching out for Matthew.
Next.
This is a very bizarre call. I wondered how she got the phone when she told me she was calling me from her tree.
You are stuck in a pine tree. That's right.
We've got Panasonic.
We've got Emerson. We've got RCA.
We carry the Michelin XCT4s.
Pennzoil, Quaker State. We got a lot of stuff. We have Magic Chef. We have GE. We have the Compact. We have the IBM. We've got Proctor Silex, Sunbeam, Western.
40 feet of jam boxes alone. Fantastic rods of nearly every size. There we go. And we have Conan the Adventurer. You got screwdrivers, power drivers. You got everything the world man could want. And let me show you one more thing. Just one more thing.
I can't wait to attack this mountain.
My sinuses are already attacking me.
No worries today, honey. No pressure.
Oh, except sinus pressure.
Nothing is going to keep us from the top.
Except this sinus headache.
Introducing the newest form of powerful pain relief, Tylenol Sinus Gel Tabs. Extra strength Tylenol brand pain reliever and a maximum strength decongestant combined using patented gel coat technology.
I feel great.
I wish I could say the same.
New Tylenol Sinus Gel Tabs, the strength you need from the name you trust.
New Palmolive antibacterial is like nothing else. It gets germs off hands and grease off dishes. And we really love that antibacterial color. A lot. New Palmolive antibacterial, the anti-germ Palmolive.
I got a problem.
Poor baby.
Yeah, watch.
Well, I've got a solution.
Country Crock spreadable sticks.
Yeah, they spread easy, straight from the fridge.
Very spreadable.
Very edible.
Country Crock spreadable sticks. Spread easy, straight from the fridge.
Want freshness to stay, not fade away. Don't spray it, miss it, stay like a mist it.
Glade Lasting Mist Air Freshener has a concentrated mist that goes up, stays up, freshens for hours. Ordinary sprays just go up and fade in minutes.
Want freshness to last, not fade away fast. Don't spray it, miss it, stay like a mist it.
For hours of freshness.
Don't spray it, miss it, stay like a mist it.
In refills, too. Fresh from Glade SC Johnson Wax.
See why there's never been a sitcom like Double Rush.
The size of a man's gun is crucial. It's not going to impress me very much if I have to squint to see it.
And meet Dana's new admirer.
This guy might be in the cement shoe business.
I'm in the disposal business.
Hey, it's comedy you can't refuse. All new Love and War right after Double Rush Wednesday.
Based on the true story. The worst serial arsonist in U.S. history.
Now, he's going after people.
Only one man can stop him, but can he turn in his own son?
He's betrayed us. We have to do it.
Neil Patrick Harris, Gerald McCraney, Not Our Son, next Tuesday.
One way to reduce drunk driving fatalities is to make a personal decision to act responsibly when it comes to drinking and driving. Choose a designated driver. Through children's eyes, the world looks much different than it does to an adult. They may not see the dangers and things we clearly recognize as threatening. And their reckless sense of fun is enough to drive some parents up a tree, as Jack Lenhart and his wife Marie Elena found out on the night of October 16th, 1993, at their home in Millville, Pennsylvania.
Police, fire, and ambulance. Yes, I have an emergency. I'm stuck in a pine tree with my son, and we can't get down. You are stuck in a pine tree. That's right. Where are you calling me from? Millville.
Wendy Kelly had been a Columbia County dispatcher for 2 years.
She told me she's stuck in her tree. This is a very bizarre call.
Are you stuck in your car in the tree? No. My son climbed the tree when my husband turned his back for 1 second. I climbed up to grab him, and we can't get down. I can't safely climb down the tree with a 4-year-old. Okay. I'm just trying to understand and make sure there wasn't an accident. No. Tree. No. Okay, are you safe at the moment? If I don't move, yeah. Okay.
I wondered how she got the phone when she told me she was calling me from her tree.
My husband threw me the phone. I was able to get that, but there's no way I can safely hand down my son. There's no way I can budge with him, or I'm going to drop him.
to find out that he threw the phone up to her was probably the most humorous part of it all.
Okay. Either your son or yourself hurt? No. All right, I'll send the fire department out to you. Thank you. Sure. Bye.
I told my partner, here's one for the books. We've got people stuck in a tree.
I was embarrassed by the thought of calling 911. I said they'll plaster that all over the front pages.
I realized that it was bizarre.
What we got? My wife and son are stuck up in the pine tree.
One. But I didn't care. I knew we had to get down.
Jerry Wright, Assistant Chief of the Melville Volunteer Fire Department, was the first rescue worker on the scene.
Sure enough, they look like a couple little koala bears up in the top of this tree.
Right up here.
You never really think about rescuing someone out of a tree when they had climbed up into it.
Okay, just hold on. Nobody's hurt?
No, nobody's hurt.
Power lines, real close to the tree. I don't know how close.
Columbia County Chief 230B. Be advised there are power lines very close to this tree.
Additional volunteer rescue workers continue to arrive, including firefighter Dennis Fisher.
It's unreal that a 4-year-old child would climb to the top of a pine tree that's approximately 25 to 30 feet tall.
The firefighters started climbing the tree, and the first one broke branches.
Yep, just a little bit.
I was very, very nervous that with all these people up there, I thought they were all going to start coming down.
Just hold on. Be right there.
Hang on, honey.
Okay. Be there in just a little bit.
We just did everything very slow, nice and easy, up to them.
Just hold on.
Okay, they're here, Jackie. We got a fireman helping us, honey.
Hi there, bud. How are we doing?
When the first firefighter climbed up to us, I was really relieved.
Okay,
We didn't use a ladder because there were so many branches in the tree. It would have been virtually impossible to get a ladder into them.
Got it? Yep, you got it.
So we decided to form kind of a human chain and pass the little boy down one person to the next until he was down on the ground.
Doing okay? Ready? Nice and easy. Okay? Okay, now let him break below you to kind of guard down on him. Okay, there you go. I got him!
After all this was said and done, I was very happy that we did call 911. And even though it might have been a little bit embarrassing, I needed the manpower, and I was happy to see them. And they did an excellent job. Who are those nice guys?
Firemen.
Firemen?
I like the firemen. They rescued me out of a tree.
The firefighters asked me if I wanted help to get down, and I told them no, that I would climb down. But it was a lot harder because my knees were shaking.
Mommy's coming.
Mommy's down.
Mommy's coming. Everything's all right. Here's Mommy. There you go, Mom. It was like a big weight off my shoulders. The whole thing was, like I was in a Twilight Zone.
Finally got you down, huh?
Yeah.
Okay?
I want to climb that tree again.
Over the years, we have received many calls where people have called the fire company when they weren't sure if they should or not. And we never mind being called. We'd rather get there and not be needed than not arrive at all and be needed.
There we go, Jackie.
4-year-old Jackie escaped the incident without a scrape.
Here we go, Jackie. Look at that.
He's curious about everything, and unless my husband and I tell him specifically that something is very dangerous, he has very little natural fear. We never warned him about trees.
Oh, boy, Jackie, that's a big worm. You can't watch a kid enough. You got to watch him like a hawk, because they'll always find a way to get in trouble. I think he learned his lesson, but I haven't tested him yet. Of course, I do not want to go through this again.
And Jackie's still the same today. He's probably looking for another tree.
Next.
Swimming in deep water in the Zambezi is absolutely crazy. It's the same as swimming in shark-infested water.
or you're over. So I go right for what counts.
What counts at Burger King is serious taste. So now for a limited time, you can get a new bacon cheddar double cheeseburger. 75% more beef than a Big Mac. Topped with 2 slices of melted cheddar and sizzling bacon. With a flame-broiled taste like no other. Add fries and a drink, and it's just $2.99.
Yeah, you've got to be on point, because sometimes you only get one shot.
Don't miss yours. Get your burgers worth.
He peered down into the rugged landscape of Kellogg's low-fat granola and paused, almost afraid to disturb all those massive formations of flavor. But that's what he'd come for, to dig in, setting loose a whole avalanche of taste. Tumbling clumps of rolled oats, brown sugar, and raisins cast into rivers of milk, and great clumps of wheat and almonds dashed against cinnamon shores. Now this is a mountain of taste, he thought. Kellogg's low-fat granola. Get a taste of it.
Rescue 911 will continue. CBS This Morning.
I look at the 2 hours as a big adventure.
It's a little bit of everything.
You're capable of feeling every known emotion to mankind.
CBS This Morning. Breakfast for your head.
No fat jokes.
If I don't get something big and greasy at 8 by 6 o'clock, somebody around here's going to get hurt.
Always end with a hug.
Women in the house, then.
Nobody wants to watch people with real problems.
There will be no airing of my dirty laundry here.
Who air is human.
You want to see my underwear? Buy me a drink.
Hearts to Fire after Women in the House, Wednesday.
This is CBS.
I got my first bike when I was 10 years old. Man, I used to get on that bike and ride. So it seemed natural that I open up my own bike shop. Bikes today are a little more complicated. They're all composites. Titanium, aluminum. Hey, Ben, you got that number 2 spoke key? I know all there is to know about frame geometry, but what I don't know about is banking. Bob showed me ways to retire I never even thought about. I got to start thinking about it. I mean, I'm 34. I guess I was just planning on riding off into the sunset.
Courtesy Motors at 1111 North University is blowing out 95 trucks for the 94 price. GMC Club Coupes, full size, $15,990. The Sonoma, airbag and air conditioned, $11,990. Isuzu's, $79.95, or we'll give you $3,000 minimum trade. Push it in, pull it in, drag it in. Hurry in to 1111 North University and find out why we're your top bottom line dealer.
New numbers every Saturday night at 9:59 on TV 10, your official lotto station.
People from all over come to Africa to enjoy exotic wildlife in its natural habitat. On May 1st, 1986, a group of travelers were nearing the end of a 5-day canoe safari through the remote jungle of Zimbabwe when they were tragically reminded that for all its natural beauty, the area also has a deadly innocence. The plan was to paddle an 80-mile stretch of the Zambezi River. Their guide, Simon Silcock, had led more than 50 expeditions in the area.
The Zambezi runs through 2 fantastic game parks, and they are both totally virginal bush. It is not unusual to camp and actually to have an elephant come and put his trunk inside your tent.
Okay, guys, let's get the boat to the water.
19-year-old Rupert Novus was on a year-long trip through Africa after finishing college back home in England.
There was nothing difficult about the actual canoeing itself. It required a quick 1-minute lesson from Simon when we got in for those particular canoes, and then after that, away we went.
Oh, this is lovely. Look over there.
We were going through the middle of nowhere. It was gorgeous.
Kenyan-born Alexander Shaw was sharing a canoe with Rupert, his good friend from school.
The hippos were basically the main danger. So it was very much a question of trying to steer clear of them.
Yeah, in front.
We did see some crocs, but they weren't any danger to us because they'd run a mile as soon as we canoed anywhere near them.
During dusk, and as the sun's going down, you get all the river noises.
was great. It was sort of an orchestra in itself.
On their fifth and final day on the water, they still had 4 hours of paddling ahead of them.
It was a very, very wide bit of the river, and it was baking hot.
Water's lovely.
We'd all drift together, and I got to know Hugh better and Jeremy, and had a good time with them.
Hot, aren't you?
South African Hugh Lloyd and his 13-year-old son Jeremy were two of the other travelers on the safari.
We did swim to cool off 1 or 2 times a day, but the places were carefully chosen.
We all need a swim, but we can't take a chance here.
The water would have to be very, very clear and shallow enough to see your toenails. Swimming in deep water in the Zambezi is absolutely crazy. It's the same as swimming in shark-infested water. It had rained a lot and turned the water very brown.
Hey, Simon, can we please go for a swim? The water's shallow.
It was only at 3 o'clock that I found a place that I considered to be safe enough.
Okay, guys, we're okay. Yeah, we can swim. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Okay.
Eddie. Simon.
Right, Simon. Yeah, Jeremy.
It was very, very relaxing. And we slowly drifted down the river with the canoes.
As we floated, it started to get a little bit deeper. The guide suggested that we should get back into the canoes.
I'll go with you, ladies. All right. Yes. Here we go. Yes. Okay. It's on this second of
Jeremy suddenly just disappeared, like a fishing float going down. The water was calm on top. We didn't know what had happened to him at all. Before we could get there, he was pulled back underneath. We then realised that there was something very, very badly wrong. He didn't scream. He didn't have time to.
I was a bit confused as to what was happening. Was it a game? Was someone having a water fight?
We couldn't see what was going on underneath. We were just feeling around with our arms. Alex then got pulled underneath. I located Jeremy, and I just pulled up as hard as I could. Fortunately, he was released.
The swirling had continued and it had become more and more red. It was obvious that it was a crocodile. There was nothing else. It could be. But I hadn't seen it. I could feel the crocodile between our legs.
We were all just frantic to get out of the water.
Help me get in the boat.
This was the first time I got a proper sight of Hugh's arm. It had been bitten off from the elbow downwards. We started to sink back into the water. I knew that I had to do something about it. It was probably the fastest I've ever swum in my life. Alex had his arm very badly broken.
I had teeth marks all around my wrist. But the whole incident had focused around Jeremy, and the very fact that he was alive was the saving grace of it. Anything after that was small fry.
Our major concern was the likelihood of them dying from loss of blood.
It's an awful feeling knowing that you are 150 miles with no road from any hospital.
Hugh's arm was obviously the most serious. but he acted with incredible calmness.
He was totally handling the situation.
Get some pressure pads on him.
He was quite extraordinary. His mental condition was fantastic, but it wasn't going to keep his physical situation going.
Hey, Jeremy.
Jeremy had been bitten on his arm, which was looking quite mangled.
He said, just somebody tell me this is a nightmare. It was the most heart-wrenching thing that you couldn't tell the guy what he wanted to hear.
The nearest help was at the Monopools Game Preserve Station, 5 miles away through the bush.
We knew that we had to somehow get the injured down to there, but we didn't know how we were going to do that.
I saw a white thing on the shore directly opposite us.
Look across there on the other bank.
I was thinking, white is man-made. There's nothing white in the bush.
Is that a car?
It was indeed a Land Rover. It was a very fortunate set of circumstances because it was the first day that people had been allowed into the parks for 6 months.
Can you come down and help us?
We were very concerned because we were a long way away from being able to get proper help. We didn't necessarily have that sort of time to play with.
Because there was no medical facility anywhere near, Jeremy and his father were taken to Monopools, where they could radio for help. Rupert stayed behind with his injured friend Alex to wait for the next trip.
That sort of stuff, because... Simon! Gordon, we need help here. We've got 2 people taken by crook. Okay, I'll try and get a plane. We've got Simon, is it? I'm a doctor.
There happened to be a doctor who was signing in to come on a camping trip. I've been happy to see people in my life before, but that guy I was delighted to see.
Simon, we've got a plane. It's going to be here in about 20 minutes.
He put saline drips into both of them.
It's going to take...
Hugh Lloyd was weakening. He was going white. I think shock was probably setting in. And Jeremy had gone very, very quiet, which is always a bad sign.
I need to get going.
A bush pilot who'd heard about their situation volunteered to pick up the wounded at a nearby clearing for transport to the hospital.
Hugh and I actually ended up crying most of the way, quite honestly. I remember him just saying, I'm sorry this has happened, I'm sorry this has happened. But of course I've had to live with a certain amount of guilt because it should never have happened.
Hugh Lloyd and his 13-year-old son Jeremy were flown 300 miles to the capital city of Harare, where they underwent surgery at Parapanitwa Hospital. Gillian Lloyd could not get a visa to come and see her husband and son until 2 days later.
By the time I saw him, Hugh was a lot stronger. But Jeremy was running a dangerously high temperature, and he was in a great deal of pain. The orthopedic specialist had said that I had to try and picture a bag of confetti, and that's what the bones in Jeremy's arm looked like, because the crocodile had chewed it to tiny little fragments.
After 10 days, Jeremy and his father were transferred to Morningside Hospital in their hometown of Johannesburg, South Africa, where they underwent further surgery.
What sort of use will he have? Dr. Diamond said that I was to be prepared for the fact that Jeremy would never move his arm more than 2 degrees either way. It was completely and utterly fixed in a right angle.
And have reconstructed the joint.
I was just extremely grateful that I still had a son. The fact that they had both been so brutally damaged was traumatic, but I was just very grateful that they were still alive.
7 years have passed since the incident. Jeremy and Hugh have long since learned to cope with their physical limitations.
You make on the last hole? You sank it in for 5. It's not so good.
Maybe the first most difficult thing to do was learning how to pull your trousers up without them falling down. And then how do you wrap a bath towel around you after you've been in a shower? when I kind of finally accepted that I was a one-armed person, not a two-armed person with one arm missing. I quickly learned that I could do everything I'd ever done.
For quite a while. My whole life became centered around my arm, which is very annoying. And I was getting frustrated because I was thinking this damn arm just won't move.
No.
He used to spend hours at the physiotherapist despite tremendous pain. And he now can extend the arm more than 80 degrees.
Yeah. Cool. It's on. When I was taken, I didn't even know it was a crocodile. The water was just rushing past me. There's no way I could breathe. But by that time, my father was next to it, and he punched it to make it let me go. If it hadn't been for him, then I would have died.
I have no regrets. Absolutely none whatsoever. It's the only thing I could have done. It wasn't a matter of choice.
Yeah, amazing. Look at them over there.
Alex and Rupert could easily have made sure of their own safety, and they didn't. They stayed, and they helped, which demanded enormous bravery and enormous courage. I lived in that country for most of my life, and most people who are taken by a crocodile are never seen again.
Look at zebra and goodies over there.
It certainly does teach a lesson that has been learnt before, which is that you have to treat nature with extreme caution and utmost respect. I'm grateful for the fact that at the end of the day we're all here and we're all alive to be able to talk about it.
It's quite amazing.
You want to say, it's going to be okay. Mom or Dad will take care of it. But Dad couldn't take care of this. There was nothing I could do. It was in the hands of God.
From today on, it will be a lot easier for everyone in America to stay in touch. Because now MCI introduces new friends and family. A 25% savings on every call automatically when you spend just $10 a month. In fact, with new friends and family, you'll always save over AT&T's best program. Always. New friends and family. MCI customers are invited to join, and so is everyone else. So call us.
How fast can you begin to feel relief from a cold? It depends. How fast can you open the halls with vapor action? Halls vapor action means instant action. Only from the halls of medicine.
Because we don't all have the same face, there's the Schick Tracer. Tracer flexes to fit each individual face, leaving your unique face uniquely comfortable. The Schick Tracer. We're changing the face of shaving.
Your legs can feel 45% smoother, your feet 40% softer.
An update from Vaseline Research.
This is no ordinary lotion. This is an alpha hydroxy lotion just for dry, flaky legs and rough, calloused feet. It fluffs away dry, dead skin cells, so your legs are beautifully smooth. Even your feet are touchably soft.
From Intensive Research comes new Vaseline Intensive Care Smooth Legs and Feet Alpha Hydroxy Lotion.
In a country where the people are as diverse as the places they choose to call home, one thing these people seem to share is an appreciation for quality and value. Maybe that's why Ford has had America's best-selling car for 3 years and America's best-selling truck for 18. Maybe that's why 5 of the 10 best-selling vehicles in this country are Fords. They say you can't please everyone, but if we keep this up, we may just prove them wrong.
CBS is proud to present an epic saga of romance, rage, and revenge. The story of a woman who must sacrifice all she's been taught for all she desires.
I ache for you at night.
A young warrior who must choose between a proud heritage and a forbidden love.
You're touching my wife.
A gunfighter who must exact a deadly revenge.
You know who I am.
For an unspeakable crime.
Wait! There's just young boys!
And the land that would claim them all as children of the dust. Sidney Poitier.
I love this country. Michael Moriarty, Regina Taylor, Joanna Going, and Billy Wirth.
Welcome home.
With a special appearance by Farrah Fawcett in the world premiere miniseries, Children of the Dust, coming in February.
On March 14th, 1992, two of the top college hockey teams faced off in Plattsburgh, New York, for a chance to advance to the NCAA finals and compete for the national championship. But for one player's family, the game took on a much greater meaning when they found themselves with a lot more than a championship at stake. Some of the footage in the story was taped as the events unfolded.
Ice hockey has the potential to be very, very dangerous. There's a lot of collisions, hitting ice, hitting the boards, hitting each other, and sometimes at a very high rate of speed.
Need everyone helping each other out tonight, work hard.
One of the up-and-coming players on the Elmira College team was 21-year-old center Michael McNamara, number 18.
Michael is their only son, and he's just been such a big part of me. Because he's a son that will come up and put his arm around you and say, I love you, Mom.
Dolores and Mike McNamara had driven 100 miles to see their son Michael play that night.
There was nowhere to sit. It was packed. So we were way up high.
It was so crowded. I couldn't sit with the rest of my family. The air was just full of great anticipation of what a great contest it was going to be.
The coach of the Elmira team was Glenn Tamaris.
We got out early, put a lot of pressure on Plattsburgh. Scored a goal to go up 1-0.
John Oliphant was the Elmira athletic trainer.
And then gradually Plattsburgh had picked up a couple goals on us. And the score was 3-1.
Michael was coming out of the defensive zone. His teammate passed the puck to him.
It was a clean check, but it was one of the hardest hits I've ever seen.
He didn't even make any attempt to try to get up. And then all of a sudden it gets real quiet in the arena, like that people sense that something isn't right.
His eyes were open, but he was completely unconscious. It was a very blank stare. He started to go into seizures, and his whole body was convulsing.
The Plattsburgh medical team came onto the ice, including Director of Sports Medicine, Dr. Merritt Spear.
Within a very few moments, he was not breathing. I attempted a couple of breaths into his mouth. But within a very few seconds, we couldn't feel a pulse. That's when CPR was started in full.
I realized they were giving him CPR, and then I was just in a state of complete panic. I started thinking, I've lost one of my children.
Peter Fiola had been friends with Michael since their freshman year.
Most of the guys stayed on the bench. Everybody became very, very scared. More than one person was crying, and I don't think anybody knew if we would ever see Michael again. It seemed like an eternity when we were out there, but suddenly Mike's pulse came back.
I stopped doing the rescue breathing, put my head down, and could see that Michael was breathing again on his own. But because he didn't regain consciousness, I wasn't sure whether this was a real temporary thing.
Neurosurgeon Soham Patel happened to be at the game that night.
The way he fell and bounced his head on the ice like a soccer ball. As a physician, I thought that we were really facing a life-threatening situation. And as a hockey parent, I could see that it could have been my boy, my son. There were probably 3,000 people in the arena, and there was pin drop silence. One could hear one's own breathing.
Just as I got there, he was coming through the gates of the ice rink. You want to hold them, and you want to say, it's going to be okay. Mom or Dad will take care of it.
Hang in there, Mom.
But Dad couldn't take care of this. There's nothing I could do. It was in the hands of God.
21-year-old Michael McNamara was taken to Champlain Valley Physicians Hospital, where Dr. Patel was on call.
In the emergency room, I did the full detailed neurological examination. He seems to be very restless and agitated. He's posturing. I told Michael's parents that I was going to treat him as if he was my own son and make sure that he has all the chances in the world to make full and total recovery.
His dad and I were standing there and we kept saying, Michael, you're going to be okay. I love you, Michael. But there was no response at all. I'll never forget it.
The CAT scan showed that Michael had sustained a fracture of the skull on the left side. The concern was, is he going to develop swelling of the brain? Is he going to develop recurrent seizures?
The days that followed Michael's accident were long and trying. His sisters were all there.
You would talk to him and touch his hand, and he wouldn't respond. I thought about the fact of him dying. It was very scary. I care for my brother very much, and I look up to him and respect him.
After a couple days, I started facing the reality that he may never wake up. And I just said, if Michael just turns out of this so that I can set him in a rowboat and sit him up and take him fishing, I'd be very happy. One thing that did encourage me was when I would go in there, Michael's heart rate would start to race. So I sort of said, well, jeepers, Michael knows I'm in here.
Very early on the morning of Michael's 5th day in a coma, his father went in to see him.
The minute I walked into the room and I said, good morning, his eyes just opened right up. Think you could open your eyes up for him?
We really all got excited, and it was like a celebration. It was so exciting.
Within 6 months, Michael had made a complete recovery.
I don't remember the hit at all, but hockey's a rough sport, so I have no blame. I think you just have to take it in stride, and you never can realize when things are going to happen like this, so you can't really blame anyone. I realized that I was fortunate that I didn't die right there on the ice, that I had no permanent brain damage. I thank everyone that made it possible today that I'm still here.
Michael worked very hard to get himself back in condition, and the first game of the next season, he was ready.
Well, I feel very fortunate. Doctors gave me permission to go back and play. And since I didn't remember any of the accident, I kind of went on playing the same way that I played before.
first time I saw him. It was scary, but then again, it was that little bit of excitement that good for you.
The following year, my Irish hockey team went to the Final Four. I'm proud of Michael and the way he's recovered, but it's the kind of young man that he is that makes me the proudest.
I'm just proud of everything about Michael. If I ever have a son, I would want him to be just like my brother.
Knowing that Michael is well today, there's nothing that I want now. All my 5 kids are healthy, happy, have done well. I think anything from here on out that I get is extra.
Ricola, natural herb cough drops. A pleasant-tasting blend of organically grown herbs and other natural ingredients from Switzerland.
Years ago, I looked like that. Then I lost 40 pounds in 4 months on the Ultra Slim Fast plan. The best news is I've kept it off. It hasn't always been easy, but I eat sensibly and start almost every day with a delicious Ultra Slim Fast shake. For me, it's the best breakfast. It gives me as much protein as this, as much calcium as this, and as much fiber as 4 bowls of Special K, plus 19 essential vitamins and minerals. So come on, lose weight and feel great with the Ultra Slim Fast plan. It's America's healthy way to lose weight.
Go ahead, touch your skin. Because now there's a new Lever 2000 with even more moisturizer, so it won't dry your skin like the leading deodorant soap. New Lever 2000. It's best for your skin and all your 2,000 touchable parts.
Tonight, Gary Shandling, his pal Warren Beatty.
You're as shocked as I am.
Plus, up close with Lyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, on tonight's show, 2 lunatics from upstate bust into my office.
Joel steps into another dimension. I feel disoriented. Is it a cosmic joke?
I'm very happy here.
Or a whole new Sicily? But no, that's fairy tale. Northern Exposure, Wednesday.
It's important to learn basic life-saving techniques. Contact the American Red Cross or the American Heart Association for first aid and CPR courses available in your area. This series is dedicated to all the people who have the skill, courage, and compassion to get involved when a life is at stake. I'm William Shatner. Join us again next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.
Tomorrow, catch Delta Burke as Suzanne Sugarbaker and see why her investigation into TV violence gets everyone fighting mad. The Mighty Mouse from the South generates outrageous fun on the new Women of the House tomorrow.
Mr. Shapiro, step out of the